All right, guys, we need to talk about mitosis today. The process of mitosis might be familiar to some of you guys, might be new to some of you. Hopefully, by the end of the day, we'll all be in the same place. Hopefully, you've got your guided notes in front of you. Let's go ahead and jump in and start getting those filled out. So, first off, what is mitosis? Mitosis is the process of cell division or replication, basically, cells making copies of themselves. All right, so why would a cell want to make a copy of itself? Why do cells need to divide? Well, there's four main times when a cell would want to divide. Can you guess what any of them would be? The first one is to heal your body from injury. So when I was a kid, I would fall off my bike and scrape my knee or something like that all the time. I left so many skin cells on my parents' front sidewalk, but my body needed to replace those, right? I couldn't just live the rest of my life with no skin on my knee. Or if you break a bone, you can't just live the rest of your life with your arm hanging off funny, right? Your body needs to heal that. And that's what mitosis does, is it's taking those broken, damaged cells and replacing them with new ones. The next time when our bodies will do mitosis is when we need to grow. You were born with a lot fewer cells than you have now. Your cells didn't just get bigger from the time you were a baby to the size you are now. You actually got more cells as you grow. So that's another important reason for mitosis, is to actually just grow our bodies, to get bigger. Next, some cells die naturally. So some cells die because we fall and scrape our knee, but sometimes cells just die naturally. Some cells only live a couple days, some live a couple weeks or even longer, but all cells do die eventually, and a lot of times we just need to replace those. So that's another important time when our bodies would do mitosis. Finally, this last one's kind of depressing. Cancer. We probably all know someone who is affected by cancer. I've had plenty of people in my life who've been affected by it. And maybe you guys have heard that. Maybe you guys have heard that cancer is uncontrolled cell division. Well, that's true. Our cells have mechanisms that tell them when they've done enough dividing, when there are enough cells, when they can stop. Cancer is when that mechanism is broken and a cell just continues making copies and copies and copies and copies. And that's when we get this tumor, right? And if that tumor is growing on an important organ or an important area of your body, that can be really risky. So, as many good things as mitosis does for us, we do have to keep in mind that it also is cancer, right? All right. So let's talk about this image real quick. This image is what we call the cell cycle. So you'll notice that I have some steps listed for you, and it starts at step 0. The reason I have step 0 is because the cell cycle doesn't only include mitosis, all right? The cell cycle also includes this thing called interphase, which you'll see in a minute is going to be step 0. Okay. Actually, I'll just go ahead and expose that one now if I can. Sorry, I'm new to these tools, guys. There we go. Step 0 is interphase. Now, the main process that we're talking about today is this process of mitosis. So the steps that we're really going to be talking about are the steps of mitosis, but I still want you to understand and realize that mitosis isn't all that a cell ever does. Between cycles of mitosis, it's in this stage called interphase. We'll talk a little bit about what happens during that phase, but I want you to keep in mind that that's an important part of a cell's life. Okay, so once it goes through interphase and it starts getting into mitosis, the next step that it's going to go into is called prophase. Pro means first in this context, if that helps you remember. Pro means first. After prophase, we get metaphase. I like to say in this case that you can remember that meta means middle. You'll see why that will be helpful in a little while. Anaphase comes next. This phase, I like to compare Anna to sister. Okay, Anna is like a girl's name, right? Maybe you can imagine having a sister named Anna. Maybe some of you do have a sister named Anna. Just keep in mind, we'll say that Anna means sister. And again, you'll see why that's important later. Next, we have telophase. If you think of the words telephone or television or teleport, you may realize that this means things over a distance. So telephone, you can talk to someone who's a distance away. Television, you're seeing images from a long distance away. Teleport, you're teleporting, you're moving something from a long distance away. So if you remember that telo means distance, that might help you remember what that stage is all about and what happens in that stage. And then finally, we have cytokinesis, which you'll notice here in this image is a little bit actually separate from mitosis. In addition, some of you may have learned a step between prophase and metaphase called prometaphase. Some people put that in there, but we're just going to stick to, prophase and metaphase. But sometimes if you are learning about this, cytokinesis may not technically be considered part of mitosis. For our purposes, we'll keep it there because I think that this works nicely. We go from interphase through the steps of mitosis, through cytokinesis, and then we'll come back up to here. A literal cycle, right? So those are the steps that we're going to work with in my class. Now, next up, we'll need to draw some pictures of these cells in each stage. So check out video number 2 for that part.